Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We sift through stacks of research, interviews, all sorts of sources, really, to bring you the most interesting stories and insights, make you genuinely well-informed.
That's the goal.
Today, we're heading somewhere maybe unexpected in the hip-hop landscape, a place often, kind of overlooked by the mainstream spotlight.
Definitely off the usual map.
We're going to LaPorte, Indiana. We're going to explore this surprising and really rich history of a totally self-made musical movement, an enterprise that's built this enduring legacy right there in the Midwest.
That's right. Yeah, when you think hip-hop, maybe you think New York, L.A., Atlanta,
Yeah.
right? The
Right.
coasts, the South.
Exactly.
But LaPorte, I mean, it's geographically distant from all that. And yet it's the home of No Coastal Entertainment, No Coastal ENT.
Mm.
And what's really wild is that for over 2 decades now, they haven't just been some rap group. It's way more. It's an indie label, a really close-knit family almost, and definitely a cultural force that's genuinely shaped their community there.
And that name, No Coastal, it says a lot right off the bat.
It really does. It's not just about geography. It's kind of defiant,
Yeah.
a statement of pride in being from the Midwest, but also having these global ambitions, even though they started local. It's an ethos, really, runs through everything.
Okay, so our mission for you today, for this deep dive, is pretty clear. We want to uncover the full story, the actual historical timeline of No Coastal ENT. We'll profile the artists, the people who really built this legacy piece by piece.
Yeah, get into who they are.
We'll try to understand their impact on LaPorte, the community itself, dig into their unique cultural vibe, and unpack these Midwest codes they operate by.
These codes are key.
And as we follow this journey, you'll see how these deep-seated principles eventually led to this really pivotal, kind of challenging moment, a sort of cultural reckoning that pushed boundaries on authenticity in hip-hop.
Yeah, a major turning point we need to unpack.
We've pulled together a ton of stuff for this old SoundCloud upload, some really raw interviews, official streaming data, even old show flyers and forum posts. We're going to try and bring this whole vibrant, resilient history to life for you.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. The genesis, right? How did this whole Midwest movement get started?
Yeah, lay it out for us.
No Coastal Entertainment.
Yeah.
Officially founded January 4th, 2003. The founder was a local rapper named Red Dig.
Okay, 2003, so that's, wow, over 20 years.
Exactly. 20-plus years of putting out music, mentoring younger artists, impacting their town. That kind of longevity, especially for an indie label, working so far from the big industry centers. It's genuinely remarkable.
It really is.
And it's earned them this title in LaPorte, Hometown Hip-Hop Heroes. It really kind of flips the script on needing coastal connections for success, shows what consistent community-based work and real stories can do.
And that name again, No Coastal, it feels deliberate, like a statement against that coastal dominance in hip-hop.
Totally deliberate. It's not just a name. It's like a badge of honor, Midwestern pride, loud and clear, saying, hey, we're here, we're doing our thing, separate from the East Coast, West Coast hubs. And you even see it in their logo. It's got this world map, but with a target on it.
Oh, okay, I think I've seen that.
Yeah, it perfectly captures it, right? Global ambition, but anchored in their LaPorte roots. It's a really intentional brand statement. We're here, we matter, coast or no coast.
Makes sense.
And they've got this other nickname they use sometimes, No Coastal ENT, the Mafia.
Okay, the Mafia. That sounds intense.
It does, but you got to understand the meaning behind it for them. It's all about emphasizing that tight-knit, fiercely loyal family vibe.
Right, not like actual crime family stuff.
No, not at all. It's about connection. It's more than just a crew. It's genuinely like a family business of music, and sometimes literally. You'll see fathers, sons, cousins all popping up on the same tracks. It reinforces that deep kind of blood bond.
That's fascinating.
And Red Dig's original vision, back in '03, was super clear. Authentic Midwest rap. He wanted reality-driven lyrics, stuff drawn from their actual lives, and delivered with this distinct kind of old-school hip-hop influence.
So real stories, classic sound.
Exactly. And that core vision, it's pretty much stayed the course through their whole history. It's the anchor.
It's interesting how those early, almost street-level experiences really molded the group's identity. You mentioned Red Dig, the founder. He wasn't originally from LaPorte, was he?
No, that's a key point. He actually moved to LaPorte around 2000. He came from the Harvey and Markham areas in Illinois, just outside Chicago.
Okay, so Chicagoland.
Right, so he wasn't just starting from scratch. He was bringing that raw, authentic Chicago hip-hop sound and sensibility right into the Indiana scene. It wasn't just about beats and rhymes. He was laying down cultural groundwork, bringing a new energy.
Injecting that specific flavor.
Totally. And this connects to some really insightful stuff shared by other artists, like FatMatt. He talked about learning these respect codes, as he calls them, growing up around Gary, Indiana, and in LaPorte.
Respect codes. What does that mean, practically?
Well, they weren't like written rules. They were more like unspoken understandings for how to navigate, how to survive, how to keep harmony in the community. He gave this really vivid example.
Yeah.
Having a pass to go into Glen Park after dark on your off day.
Okay. What does that signify?
It was a huge sign of earned respect. Trust. It meant the community knew you, trusted you wouldn't cause trouble, that you understood the boundaries. It showed you were like a valued member who moved correctly. It wasn't about being tough. It was about being trustworthy.
Wow. That makes it so much more tangible than just saying respect. It's about access and trust within a specific place.
Exactly. It's social currency.
Yeah.
And then there were the BBQ cookouts you mentioned at 5th and Grant. He stressed these weren't just parties. They were family gatherings. Getting invited wasn't casual. It came with this immediate understanding of ingrained rules.
Like what?
Like you just knew. This isn't yours to take. You move with respect or you're out, period. It's like this unwritten code of conduct for being in that shared space.
Trust and cohesion were built on everyone understanding and following those rules. More than just a BBQ, you know. They were lessons in community.
Absolutely. So these core values, respect, loyalty, and this idea of the grind, that relentless work ethic, right?
Yeah, the grind is huge. Pushing forward, balancing life, overcoming obstacles. Those are the big themes, the codes of the Midwest that No Coastal really lived by. And they made sure to pass them down.
Passed down from who?
From the OGs, the original respected figures like Red Dig himself and another key guy, Kate Killa. They didn't just rap about it, they lived it. And that became the foundation for everything No Coastal stands for. It's probably why they've lasted so long and stayed so tight. Shared values beat trends every time. Okay, so let's talk more about these individuals, the architects of the sound. We need to get into the core members, their contributions, their music. Let's start with the founder, Red Dig. Tell us more about him.
Right, Red Dig. Established No Coastal back in '03, brought that Chicago influence when he moved around 2000. He's known for what they call reality-driven lyrics, gritty stories, real experiences, and his style is definitely old school.
What does old school mean in his context?
Think classic boom bap beats, maybe? That raw, unfiltered vocal delivery. Storytelling is key. Less about complex flows, more about getting that street perspective across. Very characteristic of early Midwest rap. You also see him listed as executive producer on a lot of their stuff.
So guiding the overall sound, keeping it true to the vision.
Exactly. Making sure that authenticity he wanted stays front and center. He's all over the collective's work, which shows how central he is. He's on group tracks like Fuck the Fame, which is pretty self-explanatory, right? Music over hype.
Yeah, clear message there.
In tracks like Wake and Bake, which capture that crew camaraderie. But he also drops solo tracks like PSA, a public service announcement type track, where you really hear his voice, his perspective on things.
Gotcha.
Even his Spotify bio makes sure to mention he founded No Coastal Entertainment, really cementing that legacy and his foundational role. He's the cornerstone.
Okay, so Red Dig is the founder, the visionary anchor, but who was the engine? Who was putting out a ton of music, really building out that No Coastal catalog?
That would definitely be Jack Daniels. You could argue he's the most musically productive member, a really prolific rapper and producer.
Also producer, okay.
Yeah, he constantly blends that core Midwest sound with more creative concepts, kind of pushing their sound forward without losing the roots. He makes beats for others in the crew, shapes their tracks.
Right.
But he also keeps up his own SoundCloud, J.J. Daniels. It's like full of his own productions, freestyles, tracks going back years, just a constant stream of creativity, keeping things fresh.
His discography sounds pretty extensive then.
Right.
What are some highlights?
Oh yeah, it's impressive. Take the Dark Side EP from 2016. It was Halloween-themed, dark, atmospheric, almost like a movie soundtrack.
Okay, cool concept.
And it was a smart teaser for his full album, Sideti No Chaser. And Dark Side totally showcased their collaborative spirit. Had eerie beats, features from Theo K, Big Tone, Kate Killa, even Red Dig.
And Seed 8 No Chaser itself.
That started as his full album in late 2016, but it actually grew into a whole series, the No Chaser series, running up to 2022. You can find these on Spotify, Apple Music, all the main platforms, and they always feature his label mates. The vibe is just straightforward, unfiltered hip-hop,
Yeah.
Fits the label's whole authentic storytelling thing perfectly.
And he kept that momentum going into the 2020s.
For sure. Elevator Music 1.0 came out in 2020, then Elevator Music 1.5 in 2021. These really show No Coastal was still firing on all cylinders.
Uh-huh.
Elevator Music 1.5 is especially cool because it ends with this huge crew track, basically a new No Coastal anthem for that era, bringing almost everyone together. Powerful statement. And all these projects, you see that little No Coastal ENT imprint, just reinforces they're doing it themselves. Independent production, distribution, controlling their own destiny.
Makes sense. Now, another name that keeps popping up when talking about loyalty and those core values is K. Killa. You mentioned him earlier. He seems like a real pillar.
Absolutely. K. Killa is fundamental. Maybe not as many solo joints as Jack Daniels, but his impact through group tracks and mixtapes is huge. He's always spotlighted in those collective efforts.
And he embodies those codes you talked about.
Totally. Respect, loyalty, grind, that's him. There's this saying about him, when K. Killa co-signs something, you know it's solid.
Wow. Why does his endorsement carry so much weight? What gives him that kind of authority?
It's his consistency, I think. He lives those codes. He doesn't just rap about loyalty. He is loyal. His verses often feel like the moral center of the crew, reinforcing the principles.
Where can we hear him?
You find him on key stuff like Thrax Kings, the Mac Files, on tracks like Weed Tasting. His verse just adds this weight. He's on the No Coastal Anthem from 2017, Bridging the Generations. Jack Daniels' Elevator Music 1.5, other group tracks like Trick or Twerk. He's woven into the fabric.
Gotcha.
And it's worth mentioning, he interacts with fans online as Keegan Browder. He proudly reps the 219 area code, two little details that ground him right there in LaPorte.
Okay, and we absolutely have to talk about Thrax King, also known as Anthrax da Dawn, real name Marquise Catchings, an original member, right? And he made waves with the Mac Files in 2012. You've called it a certified classic. Why was that mixtape so important?
The Mac Files.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's legendary for them.
Yeah.
It wasn't just another tape. It was like a foundational text for No Coastal ENT. It was the first time they really showcased the entire roster on one project. A massive statement of collective talent.
So it put everyone on display.
Exactly. You had tracks like Bang Bang, super aggressive, hard-hitting, then stuff like Weed Tasting, more laid-back, conversational, but still totally real. Thrax King's production on it is famous gritty beats.
Define gritty in this context.
They like raw samples, maybe a bit distorted, heavy bass lines like 808s, drums that sound kind of unpolished, like they came straight off the street. It perfectly matched his street stories. His sound really complemented Red Dig's old-school feel, made it cohesive.
Right.
And his SoundCloud profile flat out says LaPorte, IN. Grounds him right there. Plus, he sometimes steps into that mentor role for the younger guys, passing down the skills and the values. Keeps the cycle going.
It's clear these core guys built the foundation, but you said the Mafia nickname emphasizes the family unit. How does that extend beyond them? How does that family business idea work with the wider network?
It's genuinely like an extended family, a real all-hands-on-deck thing. So many other key collaborators bring their own flavor, proving how strong that structure is.
Like who? Give us some examples.
Okay, you've got Big Tone. He's known for this really commanding presence on tracks, deep voice, grabs your attention, adds weight. Then there's Ron Mill, or just Mill. He brings this raw, hardcore style, doesn't shy away from tough subjects.
Uh-huh.
And really important, you have guys like Frozen and D-Man. They came up through the YNC youth wing.
YNC. We'll get more into that later.
Yeah,
but
Young No Coastal. It shows they're serious about developing talent from within, proves the mentorship is real. Young Rod is another young LaPorte rapper who got his start there too.
And it's not just guys, right? You mentioned inclusivity.
Absolutely crucial point. Women play active, significant roles. Lady Lou calls herself the first lady of No Coastal. She's not just a title. She drops verses on group tracks, handles a lot of their social media presence, gets the word out.
Okay.
Same with Desi E, also known as D or Desiree Matthews. Another first lady of No Coastal, very involved in socials and community outreach. Their work shows this isn't some boys' club. It's a collective effort, and their contributions shape the group's direction and how they connect with people.
That's great to hear.
And the family ties run deep. There's Lil Dig, probably related to Red Dig, plus other consistent collaborators like Big Tragic, BRA, Kid Fresh, Theo K. It really operates like a family.
So how does that play out in the music itself?
It means almost every track feels collaborative, like a potluck dinner where everyone brings something, Even if it's technically a solo project, you'll hear guest verses, beats from someone else in the crew, or see everyone else pushing it hard online. It reinforces that the individual serves the collective, unity over ego, always.
This collective effort clearly produced a ton of music. It's interesting how they managed releases over the years. Let's track that. Back to the Mac Files, 2012, Thrax King. You said it defined their mixtape era. Why was that specific project so key back then?
The Mac Files was key because it was like their declaration to the world, or at least the region. It captured their raw energy, the street stories, that gritty Midwest sound, all in one place. Bang, bang.
Yeah.
Showed they could bring the aggression. Weed Tasting showed the more chill but still authentic side. And the cover art, with the crew logo. That became iconic for that time, a symbol of them taking root. It basically proved a crew from LaPorte could make something that felt just as vital as music from bigger cities. Set the standard for their mixtape run.
And they seem to have a thing for Halloween releases. It's like a tradition.
Oh, totally. Became a signature thing. Back in October 2012, showing that Focus on Youth, YNC-ENT, dropped a mixtape called Halloween, D-Shot and Lil Dig, explicitly for the younger artists, giving them a spotlight early on.
Okay, starting the tradition early.
Then jumped to 2017, they did a whole series of Halloween tracks. Halloween Night, Mrs. Pennywise Halloween Party, mixing horror movie themes with hip-hop. Fans started looking forward to it each year.
That's pretty cool.
And the big one from that 2017 batch was the No Coastal Anthem. Brought the vets and the rookies together. Perfect example of their unity and creativity.
Jack Daniels also did a Halloween thing, right? The Dark Side EP in 2016. What was that one like?
Yeah, the Dark Side EP was purpose-built for Halloween. Really atmospheric, kind of spooky vibe, perfect for October. But it was also smart marketing a teaser for his big album, Steed Ain't No Chaser, Building Buzz. The cover art, this sinister glowing eye, matched the mood. And typical No Coastal, it was packed with features. The OK, Big Tone, K-Killa, Red Dig. Even a solo project felt like a team effort.
So they started strong with mixtapes, but then clearly adapted to streaming. Jack Daniels' Steed Ain't No Chaser album became the No Chaser series running till 2022. And those are on Spotify, Apple Music now.
Yep, widely available. And they consistently feature other No Coastal members. It keeps that straightforward, unfiltered vibe going, connecting directly with listeners on the platforms they use. Shows their evolution.
And that push continued into the 2020s with his Elevator Music project.
Absolutely. Elevator Music 1.0 in 2020, 1.5 in 2021 showed they were still highly relevant, still creating consistently, adapting their sound, but keeping the core identity.
Right.
And like we mentioned, 1.5 closes with that massive crew track, the new No Coastal Anthem, a real statement of purpose. And always, you see that No Coastal ENT mark, independent and proud. It's a business, not just a hobby.
Beyond those big projects, there's just tons of other stuff out there, right? Collaborations, singles.
Oh, yeah, countless tracks online. Gritty posse cuts like illegal, energetic anthems like In Yo City. Then you get powerful solo tracks like Red Dig's PSA we talked about. Even did theme series like Jack Daniels' Time of the Month. Mixtapes had standout tracks like Talk to Me with Big Tone to show the sheer volume of variety.
And how did they manage all this online? What's their digital strategy look like for an indie crew from a smaller city?
Pretty impressive, actually. SoundCloud was and still is huge for them. The main No Coastal Entertainment profile says Midwest Indiana, 177 followers. That was crucial for releases, early demos, connecting with fans. Especially around 2015-16, there's a big chunk of stuff there. Plus, individual members like Jack Daniels, J.J. Daniels, and Thrax King have their own active accounts. Allows for both group and solo expression.
And you mentioned that youth wing, YNC. They had their own SoundCloud, too.
Yeah, which is really cool and shows that commitment. YNC-ENT, Young No Coastal Entertainment, a dedicated page just for debuting and promoting their teenage artists. Started way back in 2012. It's literally building the next generation's platform.
That's smart. Pipeline thinking.
Definitely. But beyond SoundCloud, they have expanded. You find their music on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, YouTube now. And that consistent No Coastal ENT stamp shows they control it all. Production, distribution. Red Dig's Spotify bio even highlights founding the label. It ensures their reach goes way beyond LaPorte.
What about social media? How do they connect there?
It's active, but maybe a bit spread out.
Yeah.
Their official Twitter, @NoCoastalEnt, started in 2012, acts like a digital business card announcements, some interaction. You see a lot of buzz in local LaPorte Facebook groups, fans sharing tracks, memories.
Like the local connection.
And individuals are key. K-Killa, talking to fans, is Keegan Browder. Lady Lou and Desi E handling outreach, representing the brand directly. Maybe no single massive Instagram or TikTok for the whole crew, but members are active individually. The brand even pops up on Twitch. Someone streams games under No Coastal ENT. Shows they adapt, stay present casually.
So this whole digital trail, it's like an archive in itself.
Exactly, a rich archive. SoundCloud is a treasure trove, raw demos, polished tracks, but it's more than audio. The cover art for Mac Files or Dark Side, those are historical visuals. We've seen old flyers online, show posters, fan comments from years ago. They're cultural artifacts documenting their whole journey and community ties.
Let's shift focus a bit to that community impact. It seems like No Coastal ENT is way more than just music for LaPorte. They see themselves as building a movement, right?
That's exactly the phrase they use. It's not just about songs, it's about shaping the local urban music culture. And that mentorship mentality is absolutely central to who they are.
And the prime example is YNCENT, the Young No Coastal group.
Yeah, the dedicated SoundCloud page just for the kids of No Coastal Entertainment. That 2012 Halloween mixtape, Halloween D-Shot and Lil Dig, it was explicitly all about the kids, debuting YNC. They were giving the next generation a platform from day one, many probably relatives. It's vital in a city that doesn't have major industry infrastructure.
So it's a real creative lifeline for young people there, like Young Rod, Frozen, D-Man you mentioned, giving them a chance to learn, develop, share their voice.
Absolutely invaluable. In a place far from the music hubs, this isn't just nice to have, it's essential. They learn the craft, learn the Midwest codes of respect and grind, and get their music out there. Build confidence, community, belonging.
And that family business idea, the Mafia nickname, it's not just talk.
Far from it. It reflects how they genuinely operate like an extended family.
Right.
Relatives collaborating constantly reinforces those community bonds. It naturally creates mentorship networks and ensures their sound, their culture gets passed down. It's like a self-sustaining musical ecosystem.
And the inclusivity seems key to that community connection, too. Having women like Lady Lou and Desi E in prominent roles, doing everything from verses to outreach.
Yeah, it really highlights their inclusive nature. They connect across different groups in LaPorte. They might do an all-ages Halloween show, bringing everyone together, but also connect with older heads through those old-school beats. They bridge generations.
And the music itself stays grounded locally.
Always. The lyrics constantly reference Midwestern life, the struggles, the pride, stories rooted in LaPorte and nearby Chicagoland. That authenticity is why they resonate so deeply there, why they're hometown hip-hop heroes. 2 decades of doing it independently. That's a huge point of cultural pride for the town. They gave LaPorte a voice in hip-hop.
And a central figure embodying this community commitment is FatMatt. His story goes way beyond music, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's core to who he is. He spent 15 years as a first responder, EMT, firefighter in the area.
Wow, 15 years.
Yeah. He talks about seeing the best and worst of humanity constantly, life and death daily. He shares these incredibly powerful stories like holding the kid with cancer's hand on the way to the hospital trying to comfort him, and the trauma of burying friends. He says those moments, they don't leave you. They teach you what truly matters: life, fragility, connection, responsibility.
That's intense experience to carry.
And his service didn't stop there. He volunteered for years, even became president of the Kingsbury Volunteer Fire Department, led from the front. While doing that, he saw a basic need, people struggling for food, so he just started a food bank.
Just like that.
Yeah. His logic was blunt. You can't call yourself a man if you're not helping people eat and survive. He puts it very clearly. Music's my release, but the community's my purpose.
That's powerful.
So every lyric, every episode of his Ghost Garage series, which is about telling stories of overlooked people, he sees it as fighting for the people who fight alone every day. He wants to make sure the OGs, the EMTs, the single moms working 2 jobs, the people who supported him when he was down, that they aren't forgotten. His art becomes advocacy.
That's an incredible fusion of life, service, and art, and this connects him directly back to No Coastal, right? He's seen as a torchbearer for those Midwest codes.
Absolutely. His bond with No Coastal, especially with K Killa, is fundamental. He didn't just join the scene, he's tied into a lineage that built real Midwest hip-hop infrastructure in a small city. He learned the codes, respect, loyalty, community love, by watching Red Dig and K Killa live them for 20 years. It was like an apprenticeship in real culture.
So the values he pushes now are directly from that lineage.
Exactly. Respect for the culture, community commitment, loyalty, no clout chasing, seeking fame over substance. These are the same values No Coastal has stood for all along. It's a direct continuation, which gives his voice real weight within that tradition. He's carrying it forward.
But this dedication seems born from a really deep personal struggle, too. He talks about fighting alone.
Yeah, he's been very open about that, the hidden despair behind his public image. talking about crying alone in his car, feeling invisible, crushed by the weight of everything he'd seen and gone through.
Wow.
He describes this painful split, saving lives during the day, then feeling like his own wasn't worth saving at night, feeling like he had nobody to call. It's incredibly raw, and it really contextualizes his drive.
And that struggle connects back to being a first responder.
Directly. He says, those moments don't leave you. The trauma, the images, they teach you what matters.
There.
But paradoxically, that isolation, those battles, they fueled his ambition to build something bigger, something that would outlive me.
A legacy beyond just music.
Right. Legacy through community infrastructure. That's Ghost Garage storytelling for the overlooked, the people who supported him. It's his work with No Coastal and his own label, Skull and Flow Entertainment, all focused on building sustainable paths for artists who want longevity, not shortcuts, prioritizing principle over quick fame.
Which brings us to that really significant moment, the cultural reckoning around his track, Negro League Funeral. You said it was much bigger than just a diss track. What was going on there?
Yeah, got a lot of talk. He framed it as a eulogy for a toxic version of authenticity that's been hurting the culture. A deliberate attempt to confront and bury certain harmful trends in hip-hop.
What was the toxic authenticity he meant?
He was calling out what he saw as casual disrespect and performative toughness that sometimes gets passed off as keeping it real. The track specifically calls out another artist, Jin Lee, for disrespecting OGs, misusing civil rights history, and using words inappropriately.
So?
The accusation was that Jin Lee used really sensitive terms and imagery related to Black history and struggle just for shock value, for clout, without understanding or respecting the weight of that history. FatMatt's response was fierce. That's not respect, that's entitlement. And I'm not letting that slide, not for Selma, not for Jackie Robinson, not for the community that raised me. He drew a hard line.
So the driving force wasn't personal beef, but protecting history.
That's how he framed it, yeah, protection of history. He emphasized the importance of the actual struggles, the Negro Leagues, the civil rights movement, as the bedrock that the music industry and so much culture is built on. He was very clear about his own position as a white artist, saying he will never fully carry the weight of that history, but pledged to fight to protect it, using his platform for cultural integrity.
But the title itself, using the word Negro, is obviously provocative. How is that justified or contextualized within the community?
That's the absolute crucial part. What made it a cultural statement, not just exploitation, was, according to FatMatt and others, the full cosign from K. Killa and the community.
So K. Killa, the OG, approved it.
Yes. That endorsement from a respected elder within No Coastal and the broader community was vital. It reinforced the idea that the track's purpose was genuinely about protecting history, not exploiting it for attention or money.
Right.
K. Killa apparently said, he knew my heart was in the right place, that I wasn't trying to take anything from the culture. He saw I was here to protect it. This ties directly back to those Midwest codes of respect and loyalty, making sure the foundations, the people who paved the way, are honored, not trivialized. It shows the power of earned trust within that specific community context.
Okay, so wrapping this all up, it's really an incredible journey for No Coastal ENT. A true testament to doing it yourself, staying rooted in your community. From starting in LaPorte to becoming these hometown hip-hop heroes, they've built something lasting through consistency, real talk, and sticking to their values. More than music, it's a whole movement spanning generations.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They've flat out proven that authentic, high-quality hip-hop can come from anywhere, especially the Midwest. They lived up to that No Coastal name by building their own thing, empowering their community from the ground up. Their story really pushes back against the standard narratives of hip-hop success. Shows you don't need the coasts to make a real cultural impact. Vision, grind, loyalty. That's the formula.
So No Coastal's whole journey, and especially moments like that Negro League funeral situation, it really makes you think, doesn't it? In an industry that's so often about trends, about chasing clout, what does it actually mean to build a lasting legacy? One that's really built on respect, on loyalty, on genuine community purpose. What principles are truly worth fighting for in your own work, your own life?
It's a deep question. And like FatMatt put it, really capturing that spirit. Fighting alone hurts, but dying a coward hurts worse. And his connection to the source is crystal clear. He said, No Coastal ENT has been family since before the industry even knew my name. They taught me the codes of the Midwest. If I'm speaking on respect now, it's because I watched Red Dig and K. Killa live it for 20 years.
Thank you for diving deep with us into LaPorte, Indiana's unseen rhythm. We'll catch you next time on The Deep Dive.